You want to talk about it? I'd rather laugh about it. Let's get a little dark about it.
On the Traumedy Show.
Welcome to the Traumedy Show. I'm your co-host, Rachel Wilford.
And I'm your other co-host, Megan Wilford.
And today we're going to do part 2 of my story of the Weatherman. There's a lot to go into in this episode, and we think you're going to enjoy it. And also just throwing out there that, for the record, we are going to the Catalina Wine Mixer tomorrow.
Yes, we are.
As we're recording this right now.
We are recording on a Friday afternoon currently, which is very unusual for us.
It's
usually a Monday, Tuesday night situation.
Yeah.
So
but we weren't expecting this to be 2 parts.
No. Yeah. So this is a surprise recording, a Friday afternoon vibe, but we are about to go out tonight. And then, tomorrow.
I'm meeting Megan's boyfriend for the first time.
Yeah, oh my God.
5 minutes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it'll be fun.
We're going to a comedy show. Our merch samples just got here. And we're excited about those and to get those live for you guys.
We are going to the fucking Catalina Wine Mixer.
Oh my God, we're plugging our merch and the Catalina Wine Mixer right
and
now.
We got a lot of content we're going to make. Like, it's going to be good.
Oh, the Step Brothers lore is about to be loring.
It's about to be loring. Yes.
Yep, we're excited. So stay tuned for Catalina Wine Mixer.
We'll probably end up talking about it on the podcast, I'm sure.
I'm sure we will.
We'll get into some hood rat shit.
Oh, for sure. We're going to have stories to tell. Jared's going to be at the Catalina Wine
Yeah!
Mixer. He called me today and he's like, I saw on your story you guys are going to the Catalina Wine Mixer. I'm on my way right now on my parents' boat. I'm like,
if you're new here, Jared edits our YouTube videos.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can say, cut that out, Jared, in person.
Cut out, Jared. Yay. We can hand out our podcast stickers while we're there.
Oh my
promote
God.
our podcast.
Oh, Thelonious. We're just going to be networking all over that island.
We always are.
Life is one big, island that we're networking on. We're just floating in space.
We are.
Just a couple of networking queens.
Speaking of floating in space.
Let's talk about my big meteor crash of a relationship that completely imploded because I flew too close to the sun.
And the fact that the Weatherman is completely on his own planet.
Yeah, he is.
Floating in space.
Fucking E.T. phone home. How about E.T. phone your girlfriend, motherfucker?
E.T. phone your girlfriend. I wasn't sure how you were going to make that transition.
No, thank you for challenging me.
Yeah. That's a fun challenge.
That is a fun challenge.
Of how am I going to make the other person transition?
No, I kind of love that.
Okay, new game.
Yeah. Ooh, I love this game.
New game.
Like, I love the mental stimulation, Thelonious. I'm getting turned on. If you weren't my cousin.
Damn it. Just move to Alabama.
I mean. All right, without further ado, part 2 of The Weatherman.
Trauma. Perfect. Great.
It says that she went to Portland. She went to college in Portland.
Yeah.
And he went to school here.
Right.
In California.
Right.
And she works in Portland and all these things in Portland.
Definitely lives in Portland.
Where he just was a few weeks ago. Interesting.
Does the profile picture on LinkedIn look like the Instagram profile picture?
Yeah, it's not the same one, but it's definitely the same girl.
Okay, you can tell this person who recently followed him when he was in Miami, lives in Portland. He was just in Portland. You have no idea who he was with in Portland.
I don't.
Right, because he never told you.
No. I have no idea.
Right.
No, was it really coworkers? I have no idea.
It's not.
So I wake him up and I go, hey, why'd you tell me that girl was a friend from college? And he goes, she is, out of a dead sleep. And I said, she went to college in Portland.
You did the same thing to the wolf, didn't you? Where you'd wake him up and then, because you don't have a chance to think of a lie when they're.
Yeah.
Not to call you out on your patterns.
It's really sad. Like this
it's
pattern
not on
just
you, but it's like this
on a sped up scale.
Yeah.
It's just, and I was sitting there like after this relationship ended, I'm like, how did this happen to me again? How did this happen to me again?
At least you were really good at solving it.
I was
really
quick.
fast.
I was quick this time.
Yeah.
So
anyway, sorry.
He goes, okay.
You wake him up.
So he goes, that she is my friend from college. And I'm like, no, she didn't go to your school. She went to school in Portland. And he's like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, that is, I don't know why she texted me after and just said, like, I hope you have a happy New Year's. And I said the same thing back. And like, that was it. I don't know why she was calling me. I haven't heard from her in forever, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay. And then a couple days goes by and it's still not sitting with me. And I'm texting you about it. And I'm like, I'm going to ask him again. And
I tell you, and I regret this, but I remember thinking like, Rachel, like that is, I totally understand why that feels suspicious, but I think you might be like, you think you might be getting tested, or I think you should just trust him because the weatherman is a good person and he wouldn't do this to you. I really did believe in this person. And I was like, you are just repeating these anxious habits and patterns and like, you need to try to stop.
Well, because what he would do too, which the wolf never did, which like meant so much to me, is like he would hype me up to you, like in separate conversations. Like he would talk to you about how much you liked me and whatever, like all this stuff. And so it built trust with you and thus built trust with me. And like, you had a high opinion of him too.
I really
you
did.
trusted
I was like,
him.
He wouldn't do this. I trust him.
Yeah. And we were both wrong. So I confront him again on the phone. He's at work. And this is when he says to me, you're putting the wolf things on me. Like, I feel like these are just past insecurities that are coming out and you think I'm doing these things and I'm not. And I said, okay, I'm going to choose to believe you. I'm going to believe the best. I'm going to trust you and I'm going to put it out of my mind.
Yeah.
And I did.
Yeah.
I did. I put it away. And meanwhile, at this point now we're going to Cabo for our friend's birthday. And while I'm in Cabo, I'm trying to be communicative in the ways that I always wanted him to be with me. Yeah. And I'm not getting a lot of response back from him all the time. He like flirted with me one time and I was like so excited about it. And he said that he would pick us up from the airport. And so the day before we're going to come home, I'm trying to confirm that he's picking us up from the airport. And I haven't heard from him. I texted him and like all these hours go by. I haven't heard from him. So then I start blowing up his phone because I'm like, and this was the thing too that started this pattern with us in the beginning. He would fall asleep. He would be like, yeah, I'm going to come out and meet up with you guys. And I would be like, did you fall asleep? And I would call him and he'd wake up and be like, yeah, I fell asleep. And then I would call him again. And he told me like, oh, I thought it was so cute that you kept calling me. Like you wanted me to come out so bad that you just kept calling and calling and calling. So then I started calling and calling and calling. And this is when he starts the, you're war dialing me thing. So I war dial him while we're in Cabo because I think maybe he's asleep or ignoring me, and I'm fucking pissed at this point because I've hardly heard from him in the 5 days that we've been in Cabo. And he's all annoyed and whatever, but agrees to pick us up from the airport. So he picks us up from the airport the next day. And it's not
he was a
super
grumpy,
sunshiny.
He was a grumpy butt.
Yes, he was. Yeah. And then I'm thinking like, okay, we're going to spend time together now that I'm home. Yeah. And instead he just drops me off and then is like, I got to go to the gym and help my mom with something. And I'm like, what the fuck? So then he leaves and I call him and I'm upset. And then he's upset and is like, you guys, fuck, he was such a dick. Like,
he was mad that I was there. He's like, I didn't think I'd have to pick up Megan too.
Well, he was like, you guys could have taken an Uber if it was the two of you. Like
from San Diego?
I understand like if it was just you or whatever. And I was like, you do realize I drove all the way from San Diego to LAX to pick you up. And he's like, yeah. And I like really appreciate that. But like, if it was the two of you guys, like, I don't know, if I was with somebody, I wouldn't have asked you to come pick me up. I would have just split an Uber. I'm like, okay, like, so again, stop like acting like I'm asking so much for you to just pick me up from the fucking airport. It wasn't even LAX. Like San Diego's not even like,
way better.
It's way better.
Yeah.
So that was annoying. And then I sent him a very nice text, which he just reads and doesn't respond to, in which I ask him kindly to come over so we can have a conversation. And then I think I word dialed him a little bit that night because I was like, I have so much anxiety.
I think that's when you were here.
I was here and I was like, I think I need to end this relationship. Like
I was
starting to get there. I was starting to go there in my head. Like, this is so chaotic and like, I don't know what's going on, but this doesn't feel good. And he answers and he's so mad. And I'm like, I'm going to come to you and can we just talk in my car? And he's like, nope, I'm getting in my car. I'm driving to you, whatever.
Yeah.
So he gets to my house and we have this conversation on my couch in which, like, this is what I will say. When we were like apart and having these conversations over the phone, sometimes it wouldn't go well, but whenever we were in person, our communication was really good.
Yeah.
And like, we really just did get along so well. And we could talk through things, but it was a lot better in person. So when he got there, he like wasn't mad. And I was able to calmly explain, like, look, I feel as though I am begging for my boyfriend to care about me, to spend time with me, to talk to me.
Yeah.
Like, I should not have to be doing that. I'm not in the business of doing that. There are plenty of people in this world who would love to be with me. And like, if that's not you anymore, like, I'm a go.
Yeah.
But this is so chaotic. And this is when I started kind of telling him, like, I feel like we're just in this anxious, avoidant death spiral because he would start kind of pulling back and then it would give me anxiety and I would chase him and then he would freak out and retreat more because he wanted his autonomy and whatever. And then it would give me anxiety. And so I'd latch on harder and it was this constant spiral that we couldn't get out of. And he kind of was like, well, I feel like the fun's been taken out of this and like, this just isn't fun anymore and whatever. And I'm trying to remember.
Because there's like actual expectations of me.
Yes.
The fun's been taken out now that this is no longer a situationship and I can't go 2 days without talking to you.
Yeah. Like I get to have you on the side and like do whatever the hell I want. Like,
he can't be selfish anymore.
I have to, but it's like, I was like, I don't understand like where this drop off. Oh, this is when I said to him, because I said, I don't understand where this drop off happened because I didn't have, like, it didn't used to be like this. You were talking to me all the time.
Yeah.
And so if that energy isn't being put into me, I'm wondering where it's going. Mm-hmm. And he laughed, which I now know is his tell that he has something he's hiding. Mm-hmm. That's his, if you're listening to this, fucking, that's your tell.
Yeah.
That's what he did in the car when the phone call came up.
Yeah.
That's what he did in this conversation. Mm-hmm. And that's what he does again later on FaceTime. Mm-hmm. He laughs and says, I'm not doing that. It's not happening, whatever. And I'm like, I'm just saying that's what it feels like. Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting there and he's basically telling me, he tells me what I want he can't give me. And I'm thinking we're about to break up and I'm sitting there kind of crying silently. And he gets up off my couch and I'm thinking that this is it. We're going to hug and say goodbye and that's it. And instead he comes and sits next to me and starts making out with me. Mm-hmm. And for a person who has been starving for her boyfriend's affection for a month or whatever.
Yeah.
I stop him for a second and I go, this is confusing. And then I just
let it happen.
Yeah. And we hook up. And then after I'm like, I'm so confused. We haven't resolved anything. And I keep trying to have this conversation and I'm trying to find solutions. And he's still basically telling me that I just don't think that this is going to be fixed. I can't give you what you're wanting. But then he's still just there. And I'm like, well, what are we doing? Are we breaking up? And there's no clear resolution. And at a certain point, like we kind of fall asleep for an hour. And then he gets up to leave in the middle of the night in the dark and he gives me a hug in bed and a kiss and walks to the door. I follow him to the door. I ask again. He gives me a hug and a kiss, says I love you, and walks out the door. And that's the last time I've seen him to this day.
He was like refusing to let you break up with him.
Yes.
Almost.
Yes.
Talk about like avoidant.
He's avoidant through and through. He was for sure avoiding the breakup. That's why he started kissing me on the couch and, you know, was avoiding answering questions, whatever. Like he knew that's what was coming, but he was trying to avoid it. Yeah. So the whole next day I don't hear from him at all. And I have a lot of anxiety and I'm trying to figure out what to even do. And the whole day I'm like kind of gearing up to break up with him. And then the next day,
don't you go to therapy?
I go to therapy the next day. Yeah. And I tell my therapist everything that's going on. And I tell her that I'm like preparing to break up with him. And she actually tells me to like pump the brakes and essentially just kind of like get myself back to center because I'm like so dysregulated at this point and have so much anxiety. And she doesn't want me to make a decision before I'm like really sure because I was going back and forth. And that day I hear from him. It's very surface conversation. I'm getting some texts here and there. And then he calls me in the evening and we talk for like 5 minutes and that's it. We don't talk about like anything important. And then the following day, it's kind of the same thing. And I'm writing a lot during this period and reading a lot about like anxious avoidant attachment styles and all this stuff. And so finally it was by Thursday. So it's now been like 4 days that this has been going on where again, we haven't officially broken up. And also, his birthday is on that Saturday. So
and it's Thursday.
It's Thursday.
Okay, yeah.
And so on Thursday, like in the middle of the day, I text him and I'm like, hey, I've just been doing a lot of thinking. I'm realizing, you know, some things that I can work on and like old patterns that I'm kind of repeating. And I'm committed to working on that. I know your birthday is coming up this weekend. I'd love to celebrate with you. I love you. Something nice like that. And he reads it and responds a couple hours later. And you and I are out, gonna go work at a coffee shop. And his response is, hey, I miss you too, but I'm actually going to Washington this weekend. I'd love to hang out when I get back.
That was it.
That was it.
Yeah. Doesn't acknowledge the fact that you said like I've been thinking about patterns and like did you talk about being anxious or did you just say like I've been thinking about
I mean, we definitely had talked about it before for sure. Yeah. Like it was not a surprise.
He doesn't acknowledge that at all. Just says
no.
I'm actually going to be gone this weekend.
I'm actually going to Washington this weekend. And I'm like, okay, immediately anxious. Again, it's the same thing of no idea who he's going with, no idea how long he's going for, no idea where he's staying, no idea
where
what he's
in
doing,
Washington,
no details. When is he leaving? What, like, no idea. No idea.
You kind of got to a point of convincing yourself too that like, okay, I'm just going to trust him and let him do that and back off. But like in reality,
that's weird.
A boyfriend should tell you
that's weird
that they're going on a trip for the weekend for their birthday and who they're going with and where they're staying.
Sure. If we're just casually dating or whatever.
Sure. If you're friends with benefits.
Yep. Yeah. No biggie. But no, my actual boyfriend gives me literally no details anytime he goes anywhere. Like he doesn't communicate.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. And for a person that really needed extra communication to build trust, like this was hell.
Yeah.
Me. So
and you kept thinking it was like a test of like, in some ways of like, okay, how can I try to trust him or pull back and just let him do his thing so that he'll come back to me? Like, it was this kind of game.
It was this game of, okay, I'm going to trust and I'm going to pull back because we were in this death spiral of me chasing and him running. And so I'm like, if I pull back, then he'll come to me, which is sort of what happens for a night. So,
right.
I also, another thing was like, he had mentioned in the conversation that we had the last time that I saw him a few days prior of like, and when I went to Portland, you know, like your response wasn't super great. Like I could tell you weren't thrilled about me like going to Portland. And I'm like, I mean, you just, you don't communicate. Like it's not that you can go and do whatever you want, but like, God, it would be nice to like get some extra details, whatever. So that was playing in my head.
Be invited
or be invited ever. Like, oh my God. So I spend like 20 minutes just kind of like processing his response and this new information that he is now going to Washington, quote unquote.
Remember that. He says Washington.
He says Washington, and I have receipts. It's Washington that he says.
Yep.
Okay. And I respond a little bit later, something super nice. And I'm like, that'll be fun and cold, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Like whatever. I was fine. And I'm like, okay, I now have my weekend back. Fine. Well, I'm just going to do a bunch of fun stuff this weekend and I'll see him when he gets back.
We went to the rodeo.
So we went to the rodeo. Yes, that Saturday. But
on
first,
his birthday.
On his birthday. But first, the day prior, the Friday, I see that he has made it to somewhere snowy. He posts on his Instagram story around sometime in the early afternoon. And then we go to Mulligan's, our bar that we go to all the time. And at about 10 o'clock at night, I look at Instagram and he's posted that he's out at a bar and he's tagged the bar. And I look at the location tag and it's in Portland, Oregon. And I immediately pull you aside and I'm like, hey, I just need to talk about this for 5 minutes. I just need to get it out of my head.
Yeah.
He told me he's going to Washington and yet he's in Oregon.
Yeah.
He's not in Washington. He was just in Portland a few weeks ago. Why has he returned?
What's her face lives?
Yes. Where Tori.
Yes.
Where Tori lives, which I had put out of my mind.
Right.
For at this point, it had been like a week and a half.
Yeah, we decided that we weren't going to like fret over that anymore.
Yeah. I put it away. Like I decided I was going to trust him. And a week and a half had gone by and I was like, okay, yep. Super weird that your college friend that you haven't spoken to in years called you at 7:15 on New Year's Eve. Okay. But I'm going to choose to trust you. So yeah, put that away. But now he's returned to Portland a few weeks after just having been there for his birthday weekend. He's told his girlfriend that he's going to Washington.
It's not checking out.
And his girlfriend has confronted him about the fact that this girl that called him on New Year's Eve lives in Portland and it does not appear that she went to his college in California. So, did he tell me Washington on purpose to avoid me going to places in my mind about Portland?
Right. We spent a long time debriefing on why he said Washington when it really was in fact Portland.
Not at this moment though, like in the bar.
Yes, not at the moment.
Like, but we went into full detective mode later in the weekend. 100%. Because it's like he knows I'm a social media manager. He knows I'm not an idiot. Like if he tags where he's at, I'm going to look at it. I'm going to see that he's in Portland, Oregon and not in Washington.
Yeah.
So what was he being stupid? Was he like, was
he doing it on purpose? Was he messing with you?
What did he mean to say Oregon when he we were
perplexed. I was like, they're both in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah. I'm like, Portland's like on the border of Washington
later. Like maybe
And then again, why are we having to like guess and deduce?
Right.
Like how great would it have been if he just communicated with me his plan ever? Then I wouldn't have to play these guessing games in my head. So I pull you aside in this bar. I'm like, this is weird. And I'm like, I'm not going to worry about it Because I'm at this point like very centered, very balanced. I'm gonna enjoy my night, but I was like, I just need to get this out of my head for a couple minutes. So we chatted, and then I put my phone away for like 2 or 3 hours and just played pool and had fun. Thank you. And when I came back to my phone, I had some texts from him on Instagram and just like iMessage texts, and it was clear that he was like drunk texting me, and he was like being flirty. Mm-hmm. And I was like, this is interesting. And so when I got home, I responded to him, and this was like almost 1:30 in the morning now. And after that, he calls me. As soon as I respond, he calls me, and it's like a 1-minute phone call. And I answer, and he immediately goes, I love you. And I was like, I love you too. Are you okay? And he's like, yes, I'm drunk. And I was like, yeah, I can tell. That's okay. And he's like, are you sure? And I said, I'm sure. And he says, I'm sorry I ran away. And I said, well, that's okay. Why do you think you did that? And he said, because I love you so much and I'm scared. And I said, okay, that's okay. And he says, do you promise? And I said, I promise. And he said, okay, I'm going to go to bed now. I love you. Good night. And hangs up the phone.
Yeah. There's a lot I feel like I could say about that call, but it also brings into context to future events. Mm-hmm. But it's giving guilt. Mm-hmm. It's giving like, I don't know.
It's giving drunk guilt. It's giving like, I ran away. I don't know what I'm doing, but when I'm drunk, my feelings come out and I can kind of be vulnerable. Yeah. Finally. And like,
finally admit that he ran away. He wouldn't admit that if he was sober.
No.
And admitted that he loves you and that he's scared. And I feel like it's this like constant, like he doesn't really think he's good enough for you.
Oh yeah. That was the fear the whole time.
A huge theme. But also I'd like to point out, very clear that he still believes that you two are in a relationship at this point.
Yes. No, he calls me his girlfriend in those drunk texts.
Yeah. And really good point. This will be relevant later.
Really good point. Yeah. One of the things that he says in those messages is,
this is not a man who thinks he's on a break.
No. He says something like that. He says that's my girlfriend in these drunk messages. So he was in response to my Instagram story of you and I together that I posted at the bar. Yeah. He responds and goes, that's my girlfriend.
Right.
So confirmation that he knows we are still in a relationship at this point.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So just remember that. Good point. Mm-hmm. So I remember that night kind of feeling like hot shit because I'm like, okay, cool. I pulled back and it worked. Now he's coming to me a little bit. This is good. And so my, little plan, my dynamic of thing, whatever, it's working.
Yeah.
I go to bed. The next day is his birthday. And I send him a voice message, telling him happy birthday. And I do not hear from this man on his birthday.
Especially after the night before and those like drunken confessions and like, I love you, you're my girlfriend, blah, blah, blah. And then to not say a single damn word to you on his birthday while he's out of town.
Not a single thing. He didn't post on his Instagram story.
Didn't acknowledge the voice memo.
Nothing.
Yeah.
I to this day don't know what he did on his birthday at all.
We can guess.
We can absolutely guess. Yep. And we do. So, the only thing that he does, so we go to the rodeo and ride the bull and have a great time with our friends in Gaslamp, San Diego. And the only thing that he does is he likes my Instagram story at like 2 a.m. or something. That is the only thing that I hear from him that day. And then the next day is where it gets dicey. So he posts a story and I also have like screenshots of these and we can post them for out of context content.
Juicy.
He's gonna lose his fucking mind. Yep. So
anything can be screenshotted, babe.
Yeah. Oh, and I keep it all these days.
Yeah.
You never know when you're gonna need it a year later. To make a case against your ex-fiance who's being negligent at his job.
You never know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You never know when you're gonna need some evidence. So
the screenshot or no, the picture. What was it?
The picture that he posts on his story. And at this point, again, I'm like, is he in Portland still? Has he crossed over to Washington?
We don't know.
The picture is, he's at a coffee shop.
Oh, yes.
And it's a latte. And then next to it, you can see there's like, a matcha latte. It's on, you can't see the full thing. It's like the corner of it.
Yeah.
And women drink matcha.
We discussed this.
Yep.
I don't know that many. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that many straight men who drink green tea matcha lattes. There are some, but
it's safe to say. He's with a girl.
It's one of those pictures you post on Instagram when you're like kind of soft launching the fact that you're on a date.
Yes.
Like I do that.
Yes.
And it's like I put two things in there so that they're like, oh, she's with somebody.
Yeah.
But you're not going to post who it is. So he posts that.
It's like the mystery.
Yeah.
It's clear he's with somebody.
Right.
You can deduce that it's a woman.
He's not alone on this trip.
He's not alone. And what do you think his girlfriend would think of that? Okay?
Yep.
So I see this in the middle of the day and I'm like, okay. And I leave it. And then later that night is when he posts a video on his story. He mutes the sound and I will describe it. He is in the passenger seat of a car. It's dark outside. There's snow on the windshield and there is a person outside the car wiping snow off the windshield with their hand. And you can tell that it's a girl.
1000%. We could tell. We were zooming in on the nails, the hands,
the eyelashes, and like the side of the face.
It is a woman.
It's a woman.
At first glance, at first watch, you might not know, but we watched it like 600 times.
600 million times. Screenshotted every part of it. Yeah.
No, you went full FBI.
You did too, because I
were.
immediately called Megan.
Yes.
I called and I was like, you need to go watch his Instagram story and tell me what you think, because these were our points. You don't get in the passenger seat of an Uber. Like if this was an Uber.
Oh wait, did you say the caption? The caption.
Was there one?
Well,
oh yeah, there was one.
The caption of worst Uber driver ever.
Shit,
right?
I don't have this screenshot. Yeah,
I'm
it was
almost
like
positive.
0 stars or something.
Yeah, like
hold on, let me find it. It's in here. I for sure have a screenshot. I just didn't add it into this album with all my stuff. 1-star Uber rating. That's it. Oh my God, this screenshot is so good.
And it's like very obvious he's saying that about a friend who's driving him.
Yes.
And it's like kind of a joke. Like, you know, sometimes when your friend drives you and you're like, ha ha ha, this is an Uber. It was like very clear that this was not a legitimate Uber and that a woman is driving the car, that he's at a house. Okay. And so then we screenshot it. We look at the house. Then we try to find.
So this is when we start looking up Tori.
Is it Tori?
Yeah, we're telling our.
We look up. We try to find Tori's address.
We do find Tori's address. We find her last known like few addresses.
A woman scorned can find anything on the internet.
Oh, 100%. I remember. I have a photographic memory. I know her first and last name. I've looked her up on LinkedIn. Yep. Like I know who this chick is.
We found her on
where
YouTube.
she works.
We found her internships.
Yes.
We found, and there was like no evidence ever of her ever living in California.
Nope. She lived in San Diego for like a year, but that's not where he went to school.
That is not where he is, and like the timeline didn't add up.
No.
And then we were comparing.
Because she's a few years older.
Yes.
Than him too.
And we were comparing the picture, like the house in the Instagram to the house we found on Google Maps that matches
Street view, the Google Maps street view.
Google Maps street view.
And we're like, oh, the awning's different. The trim isn't quite the same. That window's not there in the street view. Like,
I mean, it was full Delulu, but also, I mean, it wasn't Delulu because it was like, oh my gosh, she's clearly with a woman.
your Uber driver, you're not getting in the passenger seat of your Uber. Your Uber driver is not picking you up with snow on the windshield and going outside and wiping it off. And you're not posting a video muted of your Uber driver doing that and saying 1 star. That's what you do with to make fun of a friend.
Right, exactly.
Or somebody that you're dating.
So I don't think you confronted him that night, right? It was like the next day.
I texted him once.
I mean, you and I were on the phone for hours.
Like an hour and a half.
Just specifically about that
this
story.
thing apart.
Yeah.
Like, and also, by the way, the place that he tagged for coffee that day earlier was still Portland. And then he also then later posted a picture like of the snowy street at night and also tagged Portland.
Yep.
And so he still has not been to Washington yet.
Nope.
Where he told me he's going. And so now at this point, it's pretty clear he's somewhere where he obviously said he wasn't going to go, and he's with another woman. It's clear. For his birthday weekend. So I text him once, and I call him once, and he doesn't respond till the next morning. I think all I said was like,
can we
hey,
talk?
Yeah.
Or something?
Hey, can we talk?
Yeah.
And so he responds. So now it's Monday. It's MLK Day now. And so,
what a way to celebrate.
Right? Just what Martin Luther King would have wanted. So
You dreamed a dream you'd have a boyfriend that wouldn't cheat on you.
Oh, I sure dreamed a lot of dreams, and this was not one of them. This was not. Good one, Meg. So he responds at like 5 a.m. And I'm thinking, when I see it, when I wake up, I'm thinking, okay, he's up that early because he's catching a flight home. Again, I still don't know when this fan is coming home.
You were looking up all the flights.
I was looking up all the
Portland
flights.
And
I'm like, okay, if he's texting
you
me.
had mapped out the flight schedule for the day.
I literally had. Yeah. I was like, if he's texting me at 5 a.m., that means he's up and he'll probably get to the airport by 6, which means he's going to get on a flight at like 7. And then the flight's, 2 hours to Santa Ana. So then
he's probably taking United flight 714.
He'll probably land by like 9:30 or 10 and get home by like 11. So I'll probably hear from him around 11 or 12. He'll go to the gym at this point. Like, this is how, like, this is my brain. This is how I've been conditioned for my brain to work for 10 years.
Other people can relate to this.
Yeah.
The level
it's so true.
of detective work.
Yeah.
Like, this is why also women are really good at like true crime and how we can solve mysteries.
Yes.
The way that you just mapped out his entire day based on the time that he woke up is incredible.
And none of that happened. He didn't come home that day.
No, he didn't. No,
but it's like that. I mean, like I said, I don't think this man knew who he was dealing with, because this is the shit that I had to do for 10 years to uncover my fiance's bullshit. And so like this was child's play for me. Like, this was not hard. I'm like, you told me you're in Washington, you're posting that you're in Portland. Lie. Yeah. Like, you gotta be better.
Yeah.
Or at least like hide me and Megan from your story or some shit.
Idiot.
So I ask if we can talk, and he calls me at like 11:45 in the morning that day. And it's a 4-minute phone call in which I answer, and he's like, I'm driving through the mountains right now. I can't believe how cold it is here. I wasn't expecting it to be this cold. And I'm like, why are you driving through the mountains? And he's like, because I wanted to see them. I don't know. And I said, did you rent a car? He's like, yeah, I had to if I wanted to go drive through the mountains. But in my head, I'm like, are you borrowing a friend's car? Like, I'm trying to see what he's going to say. So then I say, okay, why? I have a question. I just have a crazy little question. Just have a question to float by you. Just a couple, if you wouldn't mind answering just a couple of my questions. Why did you tell me that you were going to Washington when you've been in Portland all weekend? And he goes, what? And I go, Weatherman, why did you tell me you were going to Washington when you're in Portland all weekend? And this is a tactic that liars do when they are trying to buy time to come up with their lie or their excuse, is they say what, or they repeat the question or whatever to buy themselves time.
Right.
So he does this a couple times over the next couple days. This is the first instance.
Yeah.
He says, what? And I repeat the question back. And he says,
beg your pardon, Washington?
Yeah. He says,
I've never heard of that.
I did? Did I say Washington? And I said, yes, you did. Do you want me to send you a screenshot? And he's like, yeah, I don't know why I would have said Washington. I've been in Portland all weekend. I've been posting that I'm in Portland. And I said, I know. That's why I'm confused, because he said Washington. And in the middle of that, I sent him a screenshot. He's driving through the mountains and he looks at it and he's like reading it back. And he's like, yeah, I don't know why I said Washington. Like, I've been in Portland all weekend. Why would I be posting that I'm in Portland if I'm in Washington? And I was like, okay, that's exactly what I'm saying. And then I said, why did you go to Portland when you were just there a few weeks ago? And he's like, for fun? Like, what do you mean? And I'm like, you were just there a few weeks ago. Why did you go back? And he's like, I don't know, the same reason that because he had visited Spain and Portugal already before, like the previous year. And he's like, the same reason I went back to Spain and Portugal. Like, I know the area and I like it. And so I came back. I'm like,
maybe he had hoes in Spain and Portugal, and that's why he came back.
He might have too. Well, something else we didn't touch on either that I realized is that I was trying to go visit him. I was trying to go meet him in Spain. Yeah. And I had the flight like ready to go. Yeah. I was going to drop the money and go. And he kept going back and forth on, okay, yeah, come, like, that'd be great. And then like, logistically, it's just not going to make sense. Or like, it's stressing me out, the thought of you coming here because of blah, 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 blah. And like, I feel like I'm supposed to do this by myself and, you know, like learn things about myself. And so it was very back. And so that was weird too, in the context of all of this now. Yes. And it was weird then, but I was like, okay, yeah, like you already had this trip planned as a solo trip. Fine. That's fine. Like I won't, make it my thing too.
At the time we were like, oh, he's just not a spontaneous person. He's like methodical. He needs to plan things.
Analytical.
He's analytical. Logistic. This is a solo trip. Okay. We gave him a pass on that. But now it's like,
now this is 3 trips you've taken in which I'm not invited.
You're just not invited.
And I can't come.
He doesn't want you on these trips. And it does make me think, he's like, same reason why I revisited Spain and Portugal. And it's like, did you have hoes there?
Yeah. Hoes and other area codes.
Boats and hoes.
Boats and hoes. The man doesn't have a boat. But he has hoes. So he says that. And in my head, I'm like, okay, I guess that's a thing that you do. And then I ask him, okay, whose car were you in the passenger seat of last night? And he goes, my Uber. And I would go,
he said it like that. That's such a like lie. I don't know.
My Uber. And I'm like,
my Uber, like with a smile.
I said, why did your Uber pick you up with snow on the windshield? And he's like, I don't know. Like, that's why I posted that and said 1-star Uber rating. Cause like it was, and I said, why did you sit in the passenger seat of your Uber? That's weird. And he's like, they told me to, like, there was stuff in the back. They told me to sit up front. And I'm like,
such a lie.
Okay. Yeah, it's totally a lie. But in the moment, I'm wanting to believe him.
Right.
And then I start to ask him if he went, I'm like, what did I phrased it like, okay, well, I'm starting to question, like, if you went there to see Tori and the phone, like, there's a beep, 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 like he lost service because he's in the mountains. I try calling him back. It's going to voicemail or he doesn't answer or whatever. And I'm like, fuck. So now this is the information that I have from him from this 4-minute phone call in which I immediately call you and we're like breaking it down all over again.
We go through the video again and we're like, no, an Uber doesn't.
No.
It was clear that they were together and then they got in the car together and then you get the snow off. But an Uber is not going to drive somewhere and pick you up with a full windshield full of snow.
No.
You can't drive with that.
No.
It was just so obviously a lie. And then we were like,
obviously a lie.
Washington? I don't know.
So but in the moment I'm like, okay, I want to believe him. Like, what else am I supposed to do? And I'm thinking, now I know, okay, he's not coming home today. He's driving in the mountains. Is he coming home tomorrow? Like I didn't even get to ask him that yet. Yeah. And I have so much anxiety. I remember I went on a beach walk with Jake and I told him this whole thing and I'm crying to him and he's telling me like, no, this is weird. Like he has a lot of explaining to do when he gets home. Like, you're not crazy. This is really strange behavior. And finally at the end of this beach walk, he texts me. It's like 5 p.m. now. And he's like, my service is so fucked up. Like, not getting texts or whatever. And we kind of go back and forth a little bit like that. And finally I just bite the bullet and I'm like, when are you coming home? Reminder that it's Monday, MLK Day, and he's already been there since Friday. And he responds and goes, I'll be back Sunday! Exclamation point.
I'll be back Sunday! Exclamation point.
So he's there for like almost another week.
Dude.
And I'm like, what? What in the world? That's not Washington for the weekend. That's not Portland for the weekend. I'm going to the Pacific Northwest for a week and a half.
To go visit my girlfriend on the side.
I'm going to Washington this weekend. That's what he said.
Oh my God. I'll be back Sunday.
I'll be back Sunday in 6 days. And I'm like, what in the fucking world? So then I'm like, I am so confused. And immediately after I get that text and I respond, or maybe I didn't even respond yet, I go on Instagram and he has just posted.
I remember what he posted.
You don't remember? It's a picture of like his phone is down like near the ground. So it's a snowy embankment with trees in the back and the sun is setting. And he's tagged himself at the Timberline Lodge. And the caption is, a stop on the way to Washington.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, so you are going to Washington? Why didn't you say this on the phone to me when I asked you about this earlier today? Why didn't you just say, yeah, like I'm on my way to Washington right now. Like I flew into Portland. I was hanging out there for the weekend. I visited a friend and then now I'm on my way to Washington.
I'm going to Washington. I'm spending the majority of my time in Washington. It's like,
what in the fuck is going on?
It was not making sense at this point.
It wasn't making any sense.
The lie was like not.
I'm like, did you post this to cover your tracks? Like what in the fuck?
Yeah.
It was like, I felt like I literally, it reverted me back to 6 months prior of being with my crazy ex-fiance who also would lie and gaslight me and like make me insane with these lies that he tried to make me believe. And like, it just, nothing was adding up and nothing was making sense. And
you were miserable. You went right back to that.
I reverted back to that. Like I wasn't eating, I wasn't sleeping. Like this was so stressful and it was so triggering. And I was miserable. And so I see this and I'm like, I'm losing my mind. Like, I think I'm actually losing my mind. And so I text him. I think I tried to call him or FaceTime him. He doesn't answer. After he literally just texted me. I say, okay, can you FaceTime soon then? And I think that's when I tried to call him. He doesn't answer. I say, I am really confused now. Can we talk? And so I don't hear from him. It's like 6 or 7 p.m.
Yeah.
And he just doesn't respond. I think he goes on Do Not Disturb. If I'm remembering correctly.
A classic Weatherman move.
That is the classic Weatherman move. Oh my God. Looking at these texts right now. So thank God it's now been a week of all of this going on. And I have therapy the next day. Like it's been a week since my last therapy session. So I go and I tell my therapist,
It's not going well.
no, it's not. And this, I finally come clean and tell her, because I hadn't told her even about Tori in Portland, because I had put it out of my mind.
Tori.
Yeah, Tori, I know. I hadn't even told her about this because I seriously had put it out of my mind, and I wasn't worried about it until like this weekend. And so I get to therapy. I tell her all of this new news, and she goes, "Oh, he's absolutely with somebody else up there." And she's like, regardless of if he isn't or isn't cheating on you, though, this is so bad for you. Like, you are not doing well. You need to do whatever you can to get out of this. Yeah. And I was like, and I trust my therapist with my life. At this point, we have so much trust built because she was such a key piece in getting me out of my last horrible relationship. And I said, okay, how do I do this? Do I wait until he's back and we talk in person? Do I just break up with him over the phone? Like, what do I do here? And she's like, I don't know. You do whatever is necessary. And I was like, oh my God. And while I'm sitting there in therapy, reading her these texts and shit, he texts me in response to my, okay, can you FaceTime soon then? I'm really confused. Can we talk? He responds at 11:40 a.m. the next morning. Yeah, let's FaceTime soon! ! I
feel like that's just his way of being like, nothing's wrong, right?
Yeah, let's talk soon.
Let's catch up.
But I'm not gonna like tell you when or anything like that. Let's do it.
Right.
Old buddy, old pal. I'd love to.
Girlfriend of mine
that I haven't spoken to or seen in so long. Holy shit, dude.
It's so bad.
Reliving this is crazy right now. Okay. So I get out of therapy. I literally read her the text as it comes in therapy. And I go and I sit at the beach for a while. I'm really thinking hard, and I'm like, how am I going to handle this? Do I wait? Do I ask to talk today? Like, what do I do? And I decide, like an hour and a half after he's texted me, I respond and I say, it's become pretty urgent that we talk. So when can you? He responds pretty quickly and says, what is going on? I'm at a coffee shop right now. Why is it urgent? And I respond like an hour later, hoping he's going to just like call me during that time. He doesn't.
Of course.
I respond at 3:00 and I say, I don't want to text about it. So just let me know when you're back, wherever you're staying, and we can FaceTime. Wherever you're staying.
Because who knows? Whatever state you're in. Yeah.
No.
Oh my God.
And he responds and goes, why don't you want to text about it? What's the subject?
What's the subject?
I'm like, why does it have to be? Just call me.
Right.
Call your fucking girlfriend.
Yeah.
Seriously, for the love of God. I just go, because we just need to have an actual conversation. And he says, can you at least tell me the subject of the conversation? I'm like, holy shit. And I say, you and me. And he reads it. And I wait and wait and wait. And he finally calls me at 4:20 as I'm walking my dog. And I text him and I say, I'm walking Olive. I'll call you when I get back to the house. And by the way, he calls me and I've asked for a FaceTime. And he responds and says, let me just pull up the text now instead of the screenshots. He says, okay, there's an ice storm. And if the Wi-Fi goes out at the place I'm at, I don't really have service.
How convenient.
Super convenient.
How convenient.
So 15 minutes later, I get back to my house. I sit on my couch and I try to FaceTime him and he doesn't answer. And then I go to text him and I see he's on Do Not Disturb. And I text him and I say, I just tried to FaceTime. You're on D&D, ... So he calls me back, and I answer.
Doesn't want to FaceTime.
No, he doesn't. He's trying to do everything he possibly can to not talk to me face to face.
Yeah.
So I answer the phone and I say, "Can you FaceTime?" And he says, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Okay." And I press the FaceTime button and I get him on FaceTime. And I started off. Oh no, he's like, "Oh, I've had to like switch Airbnbs a couple times because there's this ice storm and like power's out and all this stuff." And I'm like, I don't really give a shit. I don't give a shit. And I just started it and I'm like, okay, I've been taking a lot of time and space for the last week and thinking about things. And I want to know like what you've been thinking. Have you been thinking anything? What's going on in your head? And he goes, well, yeah, I've been thinking that like, I don't know, like this, just all the fun's been taken out of this and like, I just can't give you what you want and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay. I'm trying to recall this whole conversation. He says something that makes me kind of tilt my head and zero in on what he said. And it's to the effect of like that we were broken up.
That you were on a break.
Mm-hmm. That we were broken up or on a break or something. And I say, do you think that we've been broken up this last week?
Yeah.
And he goes, well, I thought you were going to break up with me and then you didn't. And then like, it was clear that you were over it. So I thought we were on a break at the very least. And I said,
oh my gosh,
we did not break up. You walked out of my house and said, I love you. That does not constitute a breakup. And I said,
and he called you his girlfriend.
Yes, he did.
And you guys were talking like there were so many other instances in this last week that made it so clear. He drunk called you and said he loved you. Like all of this stuff. Like it was so clear that he knew you were not on a break.
No.
This is just his like.
He's trying to justify it with himself.
Exactly. Yeah.
So also he was working during this call and being like all short with me. And I finally was like, can I have your undivided fucking attention, please? This is extremely rude. And he's like, I have all these projects. I'm sorry. Like, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I don't really care. I haven't seen or spoken to my boyfriend in like over a week. And I'm just asking for your fucking time here for a second.
Yeah.
I was so pissed. And so he says this about the break. So I ask him, who have you been hanging out with while you've been in Portland? And he looks directly at the camera and does this big old smile and this little laugh. And he goes, myself. And then he
question.
Yeah. And I can tell he's lying. And so I keep pressing it. And in this moment, he stands up and starts pacing around the room. So I'm picking up on all these little signs that he
doesn't want his face at the camera anymore, right?
He does that later.
Yeah.
So he's pacing and I say, seriously, who have you been hanging out with? And he's like, he then stops walking, puts the camera halfway on his face, and he's like leaning against the window and the camera's like half off his face, and he's like, I'm not doing this. Like, I'm not doing this. And I was like, did you see Tori? And he's like, I'm not doing this with you. Like, I am too stressed out. I have so much going on. Like, I'm not doing this. And I say, do not hang up right now. Do not hang up the phone. And he's like, I'm hanging up. I gotta go. And hangs up on me. And I was like,
oh my freaking gosh.
He's lying. Like, I know he's lying.
He's so avoidant.
Yeah.
He runs away.
Yeah.
You caught him in a lie.
Yeah.
He was so clearly hanging out with Tori.
Yeah. He was trying not to be put in a position where he had to lie to me. And that's why he was trying not to get on FaceTime.
Right.
And that's why he got off so fast. It was because he knew I caught him in it.
Yes.
Which I don't know how the hell he thought he would get away with it ever in a million years.
I'm sure he's still justifying it to himself of like, we were on a break or.
Oh, yes, he is. Yes, he is. Because he justifies it to you later. So I try calling him back a million times and he's turned off his phone. His phone's just turned off. So it goes straight to voicemail. And so that's when I call you and I tell you, I'm like, I caught him. He's lying and I'm forced now to break up with him over text. I have no other option.
I think I rush over to your place.
You rush over to my place and we craft this text that I sent him. Also, while I was on this walk, when I was on my walk right before I called him, I prayed, Lord, just make this very clear what I'm supposed to do. If I'm supposed to break up with him on this call, make it very clear. And like, oh, he made it so clear. It couldn't have been clearer. And like, I dealt for 10 years with like the most sinister, pathological liar I think I'll ever come across in my whole life. Like a person that could sit there and look me dead in the eyes and have a panic attack convincing me that they didn't just go and have another girlfriend for 4 years and everything that they wrote wasn't true. And I've never touched another woman with my dick when he'd just been inside one the day before. Like that person could look me in the eyes and convince me of anything. And it was really scary. And the weatherman was not as good of a liar, so it was pretty easy to figure out. So Tuesday, January 16th at 5:52 p.m. I text him, "You won't even allow me the decency of breaking up with you to your face. So I guess this is how I have to do it. Your indifference and unwillingness to talk has made this decision very easy, so thanks for that. If this was going to end, I always hoped it would be cordial and we could stay on good terms. But your immaturity and avoidance has pushed us into hostile territory we cannot come back from. You hanging up on me tells me everything I need to know in terms of your guilt. My gut tells me you have been lying about Tori all along. I absolutely believe you have been fucking around in some way, maybe for a while, but especially for the last week. We have not been broken up this week. You walked out the door and said, I love you. That does not indicate a breakup. And cheating on me in whatever way you have, knowing what you know about everything I've been through, makes you worse than the wolf. Congratulations, didn't know it was even possible. But to top it all off, you have caused me so much chaos and confusion with your instability, unreliability, lack of communication, and low effort. You are selfish to your core, and it will be your downfall. Mark my words. You are not ready for me, or quite frankly, anyone of high quality. In the beginning of our relationship, you feared you weren't good enough for me. Turns out you were right. You are running from yourself, and I can't fix you. I truly hope you can confront your own demons someday. Regardless, you have self-sabotaged this relationship into ruin and you have disrespected me for the last time. You think loving me is hard? Try losing me and forgetting about me. Happy 2-month anniversary. We're done.
Ooh, I still get chills. It's such a good text. It's such a fucking good breakup text.
It's everything
it's
that
so
needed to be
perfectly wrapped up.
Just tied it with a nice little bow.
And you sent it on Instagram and you sent it on Messenger.
I did.
Or Instagram and text.
Yeah. I did also send it on Instagram and I followed up with, figured I'd send this here for good measure since this is where it began. I figured I'd end.
Did it ever say read?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So he read it. He read it there and it didn't deliver an iMessage for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
I kept checking back. And I watched him read it because he has his read receipts on. So I watched him read it at like 9, photographic memory, 9:52. Pretty sure is exactly when he read it.
We were thinking maybe he just turned off his phone. Because that was his method too of just like, this is too much. I'm going to take a stress nap. I'm going to turn off my phone. I'm just going to like ignore all of this. He knew it was coming. Like he knew you were going to break up with him.
Yeah, he knew I caught him and I was pissed and I was done. And he was trying to avoid it still. And trying to avoid lying to me.
So frustrating on so many levels.
Yeah.
Like he could have been a man and communicated. And if he was feeling like, you know what, I'm not ready for our relationship. This is too much for me. He could have expressed that and ended it.
Would have been nice.
Yeah.
Would have been nice.
That would have been nice. Or to drag it out as long as it did and to string you along and to cause all of this, like clearly you were in such a horrible state because of him and he just was too scared and selfish to.
He's a coward.
Yeah.
He is a coward. Yeah. Like he has good qualities, and you know,
That's just frustrating too, because he's a good person.
He is. And like, yeah, that's why it's hard. And this one messed me up so bad and took me a lot longer to like get past. And like, sometimes it still gets brought up, you know, and feelings come up and I cry because like, I really did love this person.
Yeah.
I had faith and trust in him. I believed he was different. But in the end, he was selfish and he's a coward.
He was supposed to like restore your faith.
Yeah. In the beginning, I thought that's what he was doing.
Yeah.
And in a lot of ways, like, and I think I've come to this realization recently that like I think part of the reason why I fell for him so hard was because all the things that the wolf didn't have, he had. And like, I was so starving for those things. And like, I just...
Like, he was fun. He'd go out with you. He was attractive. Like,
he was nice. He was patient. He didn't have a temper. He didn't like have low patience. Like, one time his car got towed from my apartment, and I remember having this epiphany because I was like, because in the past, if that had happened with the wolf, he would have been so pissed and grumpy and rude and whatever.
Yeah.
And the weatherman was just like making jokes with the tow truck guy. We went to go pick up his car, and he was just like chill about it and still in a good mood. And I was like, wow, that was so refreshing.
Yeah. He also loved you for being weird. Yeah. And encouraged it and liked.
He thought I was hilarious. He thought you were funny. Super smart. He thought I was really smart.
And he'd let you know. Like, there's a lot of good qualities. And like, that's really, I mean, from what you've told me and from what I see is what makes it so painful.
Yes.
Because when you were free from the wolf, you almost got over it way quicker because you were like, I feel so much better.
Yeah. But there was like nothing of substance there. Once I got out of the brainwash, it was like, oh yeah, there really was nothing there for me except this toxic bond I just couldn't break free from, essentially.
Right.
But yeah, no, like there was a really solid, like, good connection there with the weatherman that was healthy in a lot of ways that I wasn't used to. And I was so starving for that.
Yeah.
And so like, I don't know. Yeah, I did learn a lot from this person. Like, I learned, you know, that there are men out there with those qualities, and then there are men out there with some similar qualities to the wolf. And I kind of thought that it couldn't get worse than the wolf. And like, I had been through the worst and this wouldn't happen to me again. And like, turns out I was wrong. And I was wrong about a friend that I trusted and thought would keep my heart safe for a lot of reasons. But one being because he was with me through the whole aftermath of it too.
Yeah.
And so he knew better.
Yeah.
He knew better than to do that to me. And he did it anyway. And he repeated the same pattern that he told me about in his previous relationship of, I'm not happy in this. It's not working. So I'm going to put my attention elsewhere. And I don't know how to fix it. So I'm going to break it instead. But I'm too much of a coward to actually communicate that I'm breaking it. I'm going to put this person through hell and confusion until they break it. It's just like,
he wasn't going to break up with you.
No, he wouldn't have.
He was going to keep dragging you along. Like, you could have stayed in that for a lot longer.
I could have.
Like, all things considered, it was pretty fat. Like, once you became official and once you broke up, because you were like, no, I'm not dealing with this. But yeah, he wouldn't have done it. He's too afraid.
He wouldn't have. No, he didn't break up with his previous girlfriend. Like,
yeah,
I don't know that he ever broke up with any girlfriend he was with.
In some ways, honest, I can kind of relate which sucks. But I mean, like, just with my own marriage and being with my partner for 13 years and feeling like I didn't know how to end it, and like, which kind of led to my affair. But I mean, I did it to blow up the relationship. So I can understand that, like, seeking something from outside and feeling like you don't know how to tell the person or you don't know how to end it. So I do have some empathy there, but it still doesn't make it right. And it's like the lack of like ownership, ever confessing it. Like, to this day, he's still defensive. He's still claiming like he didn't do anything wrong. He still hasn't apologized. I mean, nothing. Like, it's just been like, he's probably going to always be like, oh, I have this story that you were this like crazy psycho girlfriend who was so needy or whatever.
Yeah.
And he didn't do anything wrong. He never cheated
or
like,
whatever.
No, like, it's this like lack of ownership cheated. And changing and seeing those patterns in yourself and like becoming a better person.
Yeah.
Because he did the same thing with his ex-girlfriend.
Right.
And he's probably, unless he changes and goes to like and really does some self-work, he's going to keep doing these same patterns.
He will. Yeah, he will, because he's clearly like, yeah, to this day, as far as I know, based on communication I've received, he's not looking at himself still.
No.
And like that, yeah, okay, like you compare your thing to this, but that's the difference again, is like you realized that what you did was wrong. You owned up to it to your ex and asked for separation. You did the work and thought long and hard about what you wanted to do. You made a decision. You're in therapy and you're committed to never doing it again. And then you just owned it publicly to the fucking world. Like, these two men that I dated and loved will never do that. They won't, because they're cowards and they're selfish and they are too afraid to look at themselves. And instead they'll just, I have hope for the Weatherman. I think like, I don't want to say like he'll never do that. I don't think the wolf ever will, but I think the Weatherman, there's hope there for him to change and like be better. I don't think he's not a bad person that like wants to hurt people. I know that for a fact. He is a good person inside. Yeah. And I do think he is like capable of change. It's just, he is so avoidant that it's going to take a lot for him to actually get there. It's
like emotionally shut down.
Yeah.
A coward and selfish.
Yeah. And it has to do with his like childhood and stuff. And like, I know enough to, you know, be able to surmise like a lot of the reasons why he is the way he is. And so I empathize, and I understand, but it doesn't make it right. What he did to me, it wasn't right.
No.
But I don't have any like hard proof, you know, of, what happened in Portland or with this girl. But what I am guessing happened is he met Tori when he was in Miami. That's what it appeared to me.
That's when she followed him. Yeah.
And like she was on a trip or something. They met at wherever, the salsa bar that night or whatever. Who knows? They met that night. And then he, a month later, went to Portland and visited like with his coworkers, met up with her there, hung out, whatever. And then they kind of had been talking on Instagram or whatever. And that's why she called him on New Year's Eve, because there was communication going on that was clearly inappropriate. He lied about it, obviously. And then when he and I were maybe on the verge of breaking up or not doing well after I got back from Cabo, whatever, he decided I'm just going to book this last minute trip and go see her for my birthday and go hang out there. Yeah. And I don't know what happened. I can guess. You know, he maintains that he didn't cheat on me. Like, we'll get there.
Yeah.
He maintains that he didn't cheat on me. And I think, I don't know. I go back and forth on it because I could see him being like, I didn't like physically do anything. And he is like, you know, nervous in that department. So I could see that being the truth, or I could see him like lying about it. Regardless, even if there was nothing physical that went on.
Lying.
Yeah. He's a liar. And there was like an emotional affair going on at the very least. And also going out and flying to see another girl. Like that's cheating. 100%. Yeah. Even if they didn't have sex, it's still cheating. So,
and you also, like, at the very beginning of the relationship, made clear what you considered is cheating.
Yes, I most certainly did. Yeah. I laid it out very plainly. And like I said, all 3 of my requests were not honored.
Yeah.
He was not honest. He was not communicative. And he was not faithful.
No.
So all of my expectations were not met.
No.
And it was very short-lived. 2 months.
Yeah.
2 months of us being in a relationship, but like 6 months like dating.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
So bringing it back to January 16th, I send that text, whatever, we break up. We go to dinner, me and Andrea go to dinner and like debrief. And then when I get home, I decide that I'm going to open the Christmas present that he got me. And, finally the one that I had gotten him had arrived. So for context, what I got him for Christmas was, so I said that we met at a glow dance in, I think it was like summer 2010. So I asked him if he had a record player sometime back in December when I had this idea. And he said, no, he didn't have one, but he always thought it would be cool to have one. So I first bought him a record player and then I made him a custom record that I like designed the whole like front and back. And I picked songs from summer 2010 that would have been played at the glow dance when we met. And it was a very thoughtful present.
Super thoughtful. Expensive, thoughtful.
Yes.
Clearly, yeah.
What he got me when I opened it that night was, I believe it was some chocolate from Trader Joe's, chapstick, and a bath bomb.
It's like what you get like a coworker.
Or your mother-in-law?
Yeah.
No, actually, you get your mother-in-law something better than
Something better than that.
Like your grandma? Like, I don't know.
Truly.
No,
Karen in HR?
Karen in HR.
Your
mailman?
It was like he was already kind of checked out at that point.
So checked out.
He checked out. Like, he checked out so early.
Like, I know he at least got his brother's girlfriend a nice sweater.
Yeah.
Even that would have been better than chapstick.
And a bath bomb.
And a bath bomb.
Good God.
I cackled.
Yeah.
I cackled. I'm like, oh my God, low effort exhibit freaking 472 at this point.
Imagine if you two were together and opened them at the same time. Like, what? I don't even know what I would have done.
I don't know what I would have done. What,
if he opened his first and then you open yours?
And I'm like, gee, thanks for the chapstick, babe. Burt's Bees. How'd you know?
I feel like I would have cried.
I don't know what I would have done.
Oh my God.
I would have saved face. Like, I think I would have been nice, but it would have been awkward.
Yeah.
It would have been very awkward.
Instead, you got to open it and cackle.
Yes,
and send a picture to us.
Yes, I did. Yeah, I took a whole I took a video, actually.
Yes.
We can post it in out of context content. It's good.
What
Can't
better
wait for him to see that video
saying,
for the first time.
I'm over this relationship and I am
not trying.
Emotionally connecting with somebody else.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Getting you a freaking bar of soap.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This reminds me of, for the listeners who've seen Degrassi, The Next Generation, when Craig is dating Ashley and Manny at the same time. Well, Manny is like the other woman and he gets her this gorgeous necklace and then he gets like Ashley something like a bar of soap or something very, very basic. And then Ashley finds out that the necklace was actually made for Manny.
Same with Love Actually.
Yeah. Yes. Like Love Actually. Yeah. Like,
yeah.
Not that we don't know if he got something for Tori or whatever, but
what did he get Tori for Christmas?
It's just giving like,
yeah, it's just very, very, I can't even think of the word, just demonstrative is what I'm thinking of.
Kind of like what he thought of you at that time of the relationship, of where it was going. Like, he was kind of checked out.
He was checked out
pretty quickly after you guys were committed to each other. It became official. It just was like, oh, the fun's not there anymore.
Yeah. It was like when he got back from Europe, he was like, no more. I don't even think we circled back to the PowerPoint, but we can talk about the PowerPoint really briefly too. I made him this PowerPoint. Like, did we talk about this?
I don't remember.
We put together all these slides of like, this is what I expect in terms of communication. Like, when you go away, I would love to hear from you.
Yeah.
Like, literally, like, laid it all out. Would love it if you would show some initiative in making plans. Like, laid it all out.
It was like
very
how
plainly.
to be a boyfriend 101.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm never doing that again.
No, we don't need to teach men how to do that.
I am never raising.
No one needs to teach us how to be a girlfriend.
No.
Or how to be
anything. Anything.
No.
Anything.
No. Should we talk about the fight that we got in?
Yeah. So, okay. So for a week, I went into this rage, creative processing mode. I literally, all I was doing was writing for like 7 days. It was just, I don't think I've ever had such a, creative energy maybe ever in my life than I did in that week. Like, that is all I was doing. And I wrote some of my favorite things I've ever written during that period, and I can't read them all, but I will read. Maybe we'll post some of them later, but like one of the titles is, in case you haven't heard, avoidance isn't cute, it's cowardly. Another one, my favorite one that I don't think I can read or share, was I wish you would have stayed home during Hurricane Hillary instead of coming over. Another one is, as a general rule of thumb, you should never give a woman soap for Christmas. And then I wrote this, comparative piece between him and the wolf. And that's the one I'll read. And I ended up getting a tattoo because of it. So it's called Snakes in the Grass Tend to Find Their Way into My Sheets. An hour before I left my cheating ex of 10 years, the most calculated and skilled liar I've ever known, I encountered a snake. It's by far the largest I've ever seen in the wild. I had taken a break from packing up his things and gone to get a smoothie. It was all that my anxiety-ridden stomach could keep down. I was almost back to our home when I saw it crossing the road. I slammed on my brakes and idled in the middle of the street, watching in shock as its massive, writhing body slithered slowly across the asphalt. A little voice in my head whispered, "Big, big evil is about to exit your life." I got out and watched it move toward the bushes behind our home, entranced, mesmerized, empowered. I resisted the intrusive urge to plow it over with my car, knowing what it represented. Instead, I took a picture, then a deep breath, drove home, and committed the bravest act of my 28 years and reclaimed my life. The night after I broke up with you, the most pathetic liar who's ever tried playing me for a fool, I shot up suddenly from a deep sleep, yelling in terror, dreaming, searching fervently for a snake in my sheets, hands hunting, punching pillows, distressed. When I finally came to in the dark, my tense body slackened, softened, relieved. There's no snake here. A sleepy sigh and then a simple, resolute thought. The snake was you, is you, and you'll never be in my bed again. Did you know snakes rely on external sources to keep themselves warm? Is that why you always wanted to come over when it was cold out? Is that why you wanted to be my boyfriend during the winter? Is that why you always insisted on some scaly part of you touching my skin while you slept? Your first mistake was seeing my warmth and perceiving it as weakness, because these days I have no problem extracting myself from poisonous places, and I've shed you effortlessly, instinctively, like a cold, dead, lifeless skin. I know you still have those navy blue sweats I let you borrow on your way out the door in December. You know they were originally his and that I inherited them haphazardly during the pseudo-divorce. Well, you can keep them, babe, my parting gift to you. They can warm your reptilian limbs now instead of me. They fit you so much better anyway, since you turned out to be just like the original serpent who slipped out of them and then slipped up and lost me. And then I got a snake tattoo. On my rib cage a month after. So we broke up January 16th, just happened to get this tattoo February 16th, a month after. I got this little snake on my rib cage as a symbol of I'll never have a snake by my side ever again.
Well, that's the only snake you'll ever have by your side.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. The only snake I'll ever have by my side ever again is the one I have tattooed on me.
The snake dream is really incredible.
Yeah.
The night after breaking up with him, being like, oh, it's in my bed. And it's like, oh no, it's gone. The snake is gone.
Freaking out. And it just, as soon as I came to, it was this confirmation of, yep, he's a snake, just like my ex. And like, then it was just this flurry of like, I had been trying to work on this kind of comparative writing piece for like a few days and I couldn't quite get it. And then it finally like, it came together and yeah, I don't know, it was cool. And then I had a dream about getting the snake tattoo and then I got it and yeah.
It looks so good.
Yeah, I love it. So there was that. And then after, it was between 5 and 7 days of this like crazy writing frenzy.
Yeah.
All of a sudden it just dropped off and I lost it. And I was like, I have to channel this somewhere. I have to like, where am I supposed to channel this now? And I was kind of asking God, like, what direction am I supposed to go in now? And, it was really interesting. I realized, Meg, the other day that, the same time as this was when I was getting attacked by those coyotes when Olive and I were walking.
Oh,
which like, we don't have wolves here, but, coyotes. There were a bunch of coyotes on the trail where I walk and they were like running at me. So the day that this creative writing spark goes away, I all day long, I all of a sudden just move into concepting our podcast. I'm like coming up with a name. I'm creating the artwork. I'm coming up with the first 50 episodes. I am coming up with segments and guests that we're going to have on and all this stuff. And I literally spend all day doing it. It's all I think about. And I invite Megan over to like watch TV and she walks in the door and I'm sitting in my chair at my desk and I have a second chair pulled up and I'm like, hey, sit down. She's like, what the hell's going on? And I picture the podcast and she's like, I'm in, let's do it.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, like the podcast maybe wouldn't have happened or maybe we would have went in a different direction or something if this relationship didn't blow up because I was so mad. Like I had a lot of rage again at this point, because I couldn't believe that he had done this to me and it had happened again. And so, I channeled it into this and I'm glad that I did, and that it did happen that way, even though it hurts still to this day sometimes. But that is a big reason why this podcast even is alive, is because of this person. Yeah. And then also this person was watching my Instagram stories still, every single day for like a month. And as soon as I broke up with him, I said to you, I will never click on his profile, watch his story, look at anything that he does ever again. And I'm going to continue following him. I'm going to continue allowing him to follow me because I want him to be, I knew that I was going to become his next ex that he would stalk on a regular basis and feel pain because
he does
still to this day. And because he had a super hard time getting over his last ex. And like, I definitely was a big part in him like realizing some things about her and how unhealthy their relationship was. Yeah. And him having some epiphanies. And I knew I was going to become that next sub in. And I most certainly have. I see him, he like makes little, he'll like something of mine or whatever, trying to kind of like get in my good graces. I see him looking at my TikTok. I see like he watches my stories periodically.
You've gotten a couple texts.
I've gotten one text.
Oh, one. Okay.
But before that, you freak out on him. It was about 2 weeks after we broke up.
Yes. Because he posted a thirst trap. I think our friend Andrea still followed him on Instagram and she saw it and she screenshotted it.
I was with Nate at Artifacts and he's like, did you see what he posted? And I said, no, I don't look at anything that he does anymore and I never will. Yeah. And he's like, he posted something about having his heart broken.
It was like a picture of him shirtless in the gym talking about like, oh, when you're heartbroken.
It's the best way to like lean out.
Right.
This is not a pro tip or anything.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And
it pissed us the fuck off.
I actually was talking with my boyfriend. I was talking with my boyfriend last night, and he'd asked me like, have you ever gotten in a fight? Like legit. Because I'm such a people pleaser. I'm so conflict avoidant. And he was like legitimately, have you gotten in a fight? Mm-hmm. And the only thing that could come to mind was the fight with the Weatherman.
Damn.
And I mean, like, yes, when my ex-husband and I were breaking up, there was some, but like truly,
sure.
I was like,
you've never like told someone off like this before.
No, and I've certainly never yelled at anyone in my life. Like I'm pretty, but, and this was all over Instagram DMing. So it wasn't in person yelling, but my anxiety, like I was fucking, you sent me the screenshot and I was like, no, I think I'm going to DM him.
Because you had already been considering it for a little bit because you were super pissed too because you had also put your faith and trust in him and vouched for him to me and like been an advocate for me trusting him.
I felt betrayed because I was like, I really liked this guy. Yeah. I would tell you
guys
that.
Are friends.
I was his friend. Like he was a big fan of me too. Like we had gotten kind of close. So I was just very personally upset. And then I wrote a text and I was like, Rachel, I'm going to send this to him.
And she says, honestly, the Weatherman, the fucking audacity you, and this is in response to his story, by the way.
Yeah.
Which you had unfollowed him already too.
I unfollowed him. So I go and I watch his story.
Yeah. And respond directly to it. Honestly, the Weatherman, the fucking audacity you have to cheat on my cousin, continue to post about being with someone else on your story so callously while not communicating with your girlfriend.
What? I forgot to mention, I mean, after you broke up with the Weatherman, he then like posted another picture at a restaurant with somebody else. And there was another picture with somebody else with a matcha.
Yeah.
Like it just was so clear that he was still posting pictures with this person.
He was in Washington for the rest of the week. And then you guys said he went back to Portland that weekend.
And was posting more pictures with
before
said girl.
He then came home.
So that's why I said continue to post about it just for some more context.
Yeah. Okay, starting over again.
Sorry.
Honestly, no, it's fine. Honestly, the Weatherman, the fucking audacity you have to cheat on my cousin, continue to post about being with someone else on your story so callously while not communicating with your girlfriend hardly ever for weeks. Then you post this bullshit thirst trap about getting your heart broken, trying to get some sympathy and validation from other women. You think your heart is fucking broken with how you treated Rachel? It's honestly a joke. You pretended to be the standard while really you're being shady behind the scenes and then gaslit her when she sensed it and saw it with her own eyes. You literally had gold and you treated her like trash. I'm so unbelievably disappointed in you. If your heart is hurting, you have no one to blame but yourself. When Rachel was worried you were cheating, I told her you would never do that and she should trust you. Fuck you for proving me and her both wrong. Have a great time in busy season. Because so we can't say what he does to her work, but there's like certain seasons in his job where it's busy, and we knew he was about to get super busy and work like 60 hours a week or whatever and hate his life.
Oh my gosh. I think that's the only time I've ever said fuck you to somebody and meant it. I really haven't ever done that before.
You were done.
Yeah, and we don't need to read the whole rest of the conversation because he gets all defensive and he's like, I never cheated on her, and then is like calling me out, and it's like, I never judged you for the shit you did, which like, what's with your exes like trying to drag me? Like,
he says, I didn't cheat on anyone, ? And you say, haha, keep telling yourself that. And he says, how did I cheat on her? Believe whatever you want. I didn't cheat on her. And it's like, yes, you did.
Okay.
Maybe not physically, bro. Like if that's what you're getting at.
That's what he's getting at. Yeah.
But 100% that's just emotionally. Like and he's a liar.
Himself to like sleep at night and feel better.
Exactly. Which is what you said.
Is that what I
said? Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
You are lying to yourself so you can sleep at night. That's what you said.
Yeah.
Cheating doesn't have to be physical. You're without a doubt being shady and dishonest. I'm going to read the rest.
Okay.
Cheating aside, Rachel had 100 other reasons to break up with you. You were so clearly checked out of the relationship and not invested, but you didn't have the maturity to be honest and communicate. Instead, you fucked off to Portland to go be with someone else. Or was it Washington? and just pathetically ran away. I know you'll never admit it to anyone else, but one day I hope you'll admit it to yourself because the next person you date deserves so much better than what you gave Rachel.
Pretty good.
If I do say so myself, it's pretty damn good, dude.
Thanks, Polonius.
At that point,
I was like posting shit on my story of like, if someone ever fucks with my best friend and it was like me with a tank or something, like I was so mad.
Oh yeah.
I was so mad.
Oh yeah. I mean, and he deserved that. He needs to hear it from somebody. There's nobody else that he would hear it from.
Well, because him being like, what? I never cheated on her. He never even says that to you. Like,
no.
He said it to me, but like
he never even responded to my breakup text.
He never responded to your breakup text.
No.
He just keeps watching your stories sometimes, but like has never ever tried to actually communicate with you like an adult.
No. The next time that I hear from him. So it's also interesting because I like, I don't know if we ever talked about this, but I like talked to a psychic back in August, and then you can only do it every 6 months. So I like talked to her again in, at the end of January, and I asked her about him, and she said that he absolutely was having an affair, and that he would never apologize. He would never own up to it. And like, I might hear from him, but it's not going to be like what I want. And she said, I just see him sitting on a throne of rocks, which was a really, like, it always stuck out to me. Like, that's an interesting thing to say.
Yeah.
So fast forward to our friend Alexis's wedding weekend out in Joshua Tree.
Yeah.
We're surrounded by these giant boulders. And the weatherman has just liked my post the day before, which was a move. And we had announced the podcast a couple weeks prior. So I think he was kind of shitting himself and doing his best to get back in my good graces a little bit with some breadcrumbs. And we're surrounded by these giant boulders in Joshua Tree. If you've never been there, it's pretty crazy. Look that up. And I say, it's so interesting that he kind of like did this little reach out, and it reminded me of what she said about this throne of rocks. And we walk into Alexis's wedding reception that night. And as I'm walking up to her, my phone vibrates and I look, and it's his name on there, and he's texted me. And this is the first time I've heard from him in almost 3 months. At that point, with my breakup text right before this text, me telling him he's
never
selfish.
Responds to it.
On Saturday, April 6th at 8:49 p.m., he texts me, "So you hate me." So you hate me.
I don't understand why you hate me so much.
And that is like just the cherry on top. It's like, it's still, it's, and this is like, it's just another similarity between the two of, they can't look at themselves. They're the victim. Like, oh, woe is me. You hate me. I don't understand why you hate me. Like, when did I ever do? But it's
really boyish.
It's very boyish. It's very immature. Like, I deserve an apology. Yeah. I deserve an explanation.
And if you had gotten one, we might not be doing this right now.
We might not be doing this.
Or we would talk about it in a different way.
100%.
But no.
There has been no redemption from this person. I deserve an apology. I deserve not that text was absolute bullshit. Yeah. So selfish, so victim mentality. And I decided to just never respond to it.
Yeah. I'm glad you didn't. I think that was the best move.
And it's been almost 2 months now. And the person still watches my stories, looks at my TikTok like weekly, like liked, my friend's story about it being my birthday and like whatever. He just, I'm the ex that he stalks periodically. And I love that. But I never look at his shit. So, that's the story of the weatherman.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of how to wrap it up.
I mean, I guess I'll say like that that fucked me up on a different level than the wolf. Yeah. I have never understood what it's meant to be emotionally unavailable until this happened to me. Like when I came out of my 10-year relationship, I was completely emotionally available and ready, to like date casually or whatever. But when this relationship ended, like I had metaphorical scissors in my pocket, and any man who even talked to me, like I was slicing dicks off. I was so done with men. I wanted nothing to do with it. And I have been, essentially like completely alone and single for the first time in my life for a long time. And it's been good for me. I needed it. It's been really painful in a lot of ways. Like I go, it's a lot of ups and downs, like for sure. And there's been a lot of waves in terms of like getting over this person and accepting what happened. And I definitely find myself not as much anymore. Sometimes it comes up, but like I missed him for sure. And I don't know, but it just was another warning for me of what is out there, and that deception still is out there, but I was really proud of myself for how fast I got out of it this time, and that I didn't tolerate it for very long. Like obviously 10.5 years is a lot different than, 6 months if you count the total that we were like seeing each other, I suppose, or 2 months of being in a relationship. So I'm learning quickly. I am stronger for it, and I just am learning to tolerate less and less and less. And my standards are so high now. And I don't know. So I know, like I knew from the beginning that this person was not my husband and this was not my forever person, but I always had this feeling of, I know I'm supposed to see it through to the end. And I think that there were multiple reasons for that.
I mean, it's the catalyst for the podcast.
I think that's a really big reason why I just like, I knew that there was something at the end of it.
Yeah.
I knew there was something at the end of it, and I needed to, when I like ended it the first time, when we got home from Europe and he wasn't making effort, it was like, I just feel like there's unfinished business here.
Yeah.
I need to see this through. I haven't seen it through yet.
Yeah.
And I think a really huge reason why is the podcast. I don't know that the podcast would have happened without it. I
don't know. Or later or in a different way, but truly like the energy you had from that breakup, you were like, nope, I'm taking a break from men. I'm going to dive into this. I'm going to work on myself. Like, really props to you for not, we've talked about this. Like, it had been a really, really long time since there was no boy you were talking to. There was no dating apps. There was no person. There was no nothing. I don't even think I've ever had that. I've always had someone I'm talking to at some point.
Yeah.
Like,
say what you want about me, but like, I don't get sad. I get to work.
Yeah.
That's just kind of who I am. Like, I'll process my feelings and I'll go to therapy, but like, I don't.
Yeah, you'll have some sad days, but
I don't wallow.
You don't wallow.
No.
You take that energy and then you put it into something like writing or like
healing boot camp.
Rachel Wilford Healing Boot Camp. Like, you don't just sit in it and let it fester. You're like, hey, what can I do? And I think we rub off on each other.
I think
that
so
way too. I hope so.
I think so.
I mean, I feel like I've learned from that breakup, from your breakup with Weatherman. Like, we both learn. And even just like people I've gone on dates with after, we're like, this is giving Weatherman. Like, we learn from each other's.
Even the Minuteman guy that I just went on a date with the other week, I was like, it's giving low effort. It's giving Weatherman. I'm not down. It's giving like immaturity here. No. Yeah. It's just another, experience, like baseline to compare other things to and know what I don't want. I figured out what I don't want. And I also figured out some things that I do want. Like, he did have qualities that I like and that are, things that I will also look for in my next person, alongside some other ones that he didn't have and the wolf didn't have,
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
I take a lot from that relationship, even though it was short-lived. I learned a lot. And I do sincerely wish that person the best, which is a difference between how I feel about him and the wolf. Like, I don't wish the wolf the best. Because I don't think that he's good inside, but I do think that the Weatherman's good inside. There's a part of me that will always love and care for him, I think. And it just
makes it hard.
That's what makes it hard. That's what's made it a lot harder.
For sure. So it's a big deal. Even it was your tiny triumph a couple weeks ago when you said that you're ready to maybe start dating again, because it's been a lot different.
Oh yeah, it really wrecked me
processing this breakup and kind of feeling ready to potentially try to trust somebody else again.
I'm like really scared to get hurt for sure. Or trust the wrong person or get lied to or get bamboozled or swindled or whatever. Like, I'm I'm super scared. And I wasn't, when I got out of it with the wolf, I was like, there's no way it's going to happen to me again. And this can be worse. Like I was just with the worst person on the planet. There's no way it can happen again. And it did, and scared the shit out of me. And, you know, maybe that's for the best. Everything happens for a reason. Yeah. And I think there were a lot of reasons that this relationship happened for me, but, it impacted me a lot.
But look at you now.
But look at me now.
But look at you now.
Mm-hmm. And he does still look at me now. The one that got away, I suppose.
Good job, Thelonious.
Thanks, Thelonious. Yeah, so I think that's it. We can wrap it. Let me know if you guys want to read the other things that I wrote. I can post them.
Oh, yeah.
They're kind of savage.
Yeah.
Which I love. Initially, my plan, remember this, was we were going to wait till he was in busy season, and then we were going to post all the things that I wrote on my story. And then we were going to post a video of me running over his Christmas present with my car. Yeah. No, the one I got for him, I was going to run over the record with my car because that's in one of the things that I wrote at the end. But no, I didn't do that. I chose the high road and instead just made a podcast and decided to talk about it for the world.
Every single detail. But I'm hoping that, I mean, part of the reason of the podcast is to help other people. And if you've been through something like this, to make you feel like, it always helps when you hear people go through the same thing as you, see how they've overcome it, what they've learned from it. And just a reminder of our trauma bonding segment, or if this resonated with you, or if you are currently going through something like this, or have been, or you've been on the other side, feel free to share your story with us, especially, I mean, privately or publicly. Let us know if you'd like us to read it on the podcast.
Yeah, we'd love that.
We'd be more than happy to share some other stories. Our email should be in the link tree. It's going to
the traumedyshow.pod@gmail.com.
Yeah. Or DM us on Instagram.
Yeah. And don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to us wherever you listen to podcasts. And follow us on Instagram and TikTok at the.traumedy.show.
Love you.
Bye.